Greetings, royal family. All right, it's the season 1 finale. We have reached the end of the road, ladies and gentlemen, of Sistas. Episode 1, no, not episode 1, season 1, sorry. Episode 25. So this is the season finale. So let's get into it. Thanks for clicking on the video. All right, so Karen, we're back at Karen's place, and Michael Myers has entered the chat. So he is in the house with his knife. This is Fawn's brother. He is coming to avenge his sister's death. So the episode opens up where Karen is running in her bedroom, and I'm like, run, Karen, run. She runs into her bedroom away from Michael Myers. He has the knife in his hand. So she's fidgeting in the drawer, and he's trying to get to her. And in walks Zach. I'm like, where the heck did he come from, right? So already they starting out lit on this episode. So, okay, I'm here for it. I'm excited. The momentum is high. So Zach and Michael Myers, they start wrestling on the ground. And Zach, he did get a few good licks off on dude. Then Zach is stabbed right in the stomach. And I'm like, oh. So Fawn's brother, I call him Michael Myers, he ends up stabbing Zach in the stomach, I think like twice. Now Karen, who has her toolie in hand at this point, I was wondering why didn't she shoot before Zach got stabbed? But whatever, she was scared. She lets off shots and Michael Myers drops to the ground. Okay, Karen, she starts screaming. And Zach, who has just been stabbed in the stomach, is consoling her. It's a Tyler Perry show, so I'm not going to nitpick this episode. Not on purpose. Then we see Karen's mama. She walks in and she's just like, what the heck is going on? There's blood everywhere. Zach, he's bleeding like crazy. Nobody is calling 911. He's like almost passing out. Karen ends up taking Zach to the hospital. Karen's mother says, just go, go, go. Don't call the cops. She kicks Michael Myers twice and says that he's not even dead. So is Michael Myers still alive? And scene. So we move on to Andy. God, this girl. Woo, what a moron. So she is at the police station and her lawyer friend comes out. This is the one that Gary kind of like pushed away. Her lawyer friend ends up getting Gary bail. So he ends up bailing out. And he's talking to Andy, her lawyer friend. He wants to know what happened to her and why she would date a guy like Gary. And he says that he heard some nasty things about Gary. Okay, nasty rumors. And Andy, of course, she wants to know. And the guy refuses to tell her. He's just like, you know what? She is head over heels. She's probably head over heels in love with this idiot. I ain't telling her nothing. Like, you really expect this guy to tell you anything? Anywho, we move on to Sabrina for whatever reason, and Calvin finally wakes up from his drunken stupor, and he is on his way home. So after he leaves, she ends up calling Andy and lets her know that she got an alert on Andy's bank account. I'm like, first of all, because I know Sabrina is a bank manager. First of all, Andy really is stupid. Why would she have an account where your best friend is the bank manager? Nah, I don't care how close we are. You're not gonna be in my finances. Andy really is dumb. Anyway, the alert is from the money that Andy had, that Gary asked Andy to move into her account. So, you know, Sabrina, she's just like, look, we are going to talk about this. We are going to talk about this. All right, well, girl, since you want to be nosy and everything, why didn't you do some finagling to reverse that transaction to try to make sure your girl was good? She don't think. Anyway, so we move on to Danni and Sabrina. So Danni ends up calling Sabrina. Danni, she is down at the bar and she sees Rodeo, aka Preston, at the bar with another girl. Sabrina, she makes her way to the club because Danni is upset and she wants to confront Rodeo. And she's like, oh, I'm going to go to jail. Who cares? Back to Zach and Karen. Okay, so he's getting patched up and he's supposed to be sent home that same day. So he's going to live. He's okay. Zach is pretty much shooting his shot and he wants to know if Karen still loves him. Okay, this scene was so pathetic to see Zach begging for Karen to give him another chance. And he's just like, I will change for you. I will do this. Man, bunk Karen. Okay? Like, just move on. Anyway, finally, the scene is broken up because it was long and drawn out. So the scene is broken up by an officer who comes into the hospital room where Zach and Karen are to ask Karen a few questions. So Karen admits to what happened with Michael Myers and said that Michael Myers' body was at her apartment. The cop tells her, nah, we went to your apartment and there was no body. I immediately started laughing. I said, Karen's mama works fast because she was the last person with Michael Myers at the apartment. She's an OG. I forgot her name, but she's an OG. We move on to Dumb and Dumber. That is Andy and Gary. So they're in the car headed home from the police station, and you can see that Andy's body language is kind of like, oh, I'm so afraid. I don't know. And Gary is asking Andy, like, look, when I get home, I just want to take a shower. Can you make me something to eat? She agrees, of course. And Andy asks Gary, are you telling me everything? And of course, he flares up. And she was like, every time I ask you something, you always get mad at me. So, of course, he tells her no. God, this girl. All of these outs that she had, man. All of these outs. You could have poisoned his sandwich when you got home. You could have left him in jail. All of these outs that you had, sis. We move on to Sabrina and Danni down to the bar. So Sabrina, she makes it down to the bar. Danni, she is drunk as a skunk and does not want to go home. So Sabrina ends up seeing the man that beat up Maurice, Alonzo, I think that's his name. And she confronts him and she wants all the smoke. I mean, Sabrina was in rare form. She was puffing up her chest and her voice had bass in it and all that. Okay? So he calls security and tells them, get this B out of my club, because I guess he runs the club. They end up bickering back and forth. She calls him a no good ninja and a B and a yada yada, and he throws a drink in her face as she was cussing him out, right? So Sabrina picks up a beer bottle and she bashes Mister's head in, okay? Just like Miss Sophia from The Color Purple would have wanted her to do. Bravo, Sabrina, bravo. The first time I've seen her real ballsy, Then all hell breaks loose in the bar, okay? You see Danni fighting the guy. Fists are flying. You see Rodeo. He comes out of nowhere. He starts fighting the guy, Alonzo, that Danni was fighting. So they get thrown out the bar. That's Rodeo, Sabrina, and Danni. They get thrown out the bar. And Rodeo ends up coming up to Danni to see if she was all right. And she just tells him finally how she feels. So he's totally confused because he's not accustomed to dating. Like, he doesn't date. And he tells her, look, I did everything that you told me to do. Like, I stopped doing all the things that you told me that I do too much. Like, I'm not texting you. Like, I'm not texting you at all. And Danny's just like, well, I told you to stop texting me all the time, not texting me completely. Now, he was on a date with another girl. So they end up starting to kiss, and then they end up going back to Danny's place, leaving the girl high and dry. And Danny tells Rodeo, this is Atlanta. You have a lot to learn. Sorry to tell you, but she's a man. And the poor girl was like, no, I'm a girl. A hot mess. So yeah, all is well with them. Anyway, back to Zach and Karen. So they are still at the hospital. Aaron ends up walking in. Wow, in a black suit. He had just left his ex-wife's funeral. So Karen, she goes to walk out to talk to Aaron, and Zach stopped them. And Zach made a good point, saying that ever since Aaron came around, all this crap has been happening. And I agree with Zach for once. This is why I think, Zach, move on. If you are going to change yourself, this goes for anybody. Change yourself for yourself first. This is not an E on the moment. Moving along. Aaron, they go out into the hallway, and Aaron, he tells Karen, hey, Karen, your mother brought Michael Myers to Fawn's funeral on the back of her motorcycle. What? Yo. So Fawn's brother, this is when we realized that Fawn's brother is not dead. Dang, Karen. Where did you shoot him? He probably had on a bulletproof vest. But, honey, Karen's mother Karen's mother is a different type of OG. She picked that boy up out of Karen's apartment, probably draped him over her motorcycle, and pulled up to his sister's funeral. And Aaron said that her mother said, if you send him again, he might end up dead or something like that. I forgot what he said. But she is gangster. She showed up to the funeral, dropped that body off. Then they call the paramedics. She means business. Anyway, Karen ends up calling her mama, and her mother said, look, I'm going camping, sweetie, and if you need me, you know where to find me. Peace. Okay? Karen's mother is really an OG. But what's going to happen with the police officer? Well, I guess it doesn't matter in this episode. If they come back next season, then I guess we'll find out. Back to Dumb and Dumber, Gary and Andy, they wake up together and, Andy is smiling and she's so happy like an idiot that she is. And while crazy Gary is in the shower, he ends up getting a notification or a text on his phone. Of course, it's suspicious. He's like, I'm going to go in the shower. Takes his phone in there. So while he's in the shower, Andy ends up looking in the folder that the PI lady gave her from the last episode. So I'm saying to myself, you just now opening that, girl? She gets a call from the PI lady, Leslie. I just figured out that that's her name. I didn't know that was her name before. Anyway, Leslie ends up calling Andy and telling her, don't trust him. They're coming for you. Don't trust him. They're coming for you. And hangs up. Now, after the PI lady hung up, Andy's still whispering on the phone. Like, tell me what you know. See what I'm saying? She dumb. She hung up, fool. Get your ish and get out that house, girl. God. Then she approaches the bathroom door and she overhears Gary on the phone whispering and stuff. Oh, God. Warning signs slapping the girl all upside her neck. And she just walks right into her calamity. Anyway, Danni, her desperation is painful to watch. So her and Rodeo are back together. That's the long and short of it. Moving along, back to Andy and Gary. Yo, when I seen, oh my God, this scene, they pull up to this like plantation barn style house in the woods. It looks like in the middle of nowhere. Okay. And all you hear is Andy giggling. She had been blindfolded. Okay. The whole ride there. And she was blindfolded, getting out the car, giggling. Where are we, Gary? I'm like, yo, you just got a phone call. You have a folder with a whole bunch of information. You getting these warnings and you drive to an unknown location with this crazy fool? Anyway, he had her blindfolded, then reveals to her that this is their house. It's a run-down, raggedy. He said there's a barn in the back so they can have horses. Andy asked, where are we? He said 2 hours from the city. Woo! At this point, Andy is standing there confused, right? And has a flashback of when Gary's wife was in the hospital telling her that Gary will isolate her and move her away from her family. So I think something's starting to stick. Something's starting to stick. She tells Gary, I don't want to live in the middle of nowhere. I don't want to make new friends. Like, I'm a city girl. I don't want to do this. She's like, no. And it seemed for a split second that she was like, all right, yes, she's speaking out. Before Gary could say anything, all of a sudden the FBI roll up. And Gary is once again under arrest for money laundering, bank fraud, all types of scheming and scamming. So he ends up getting handcuffed, and as he's getting handcuffed, they're both on their knees with their hands in the air, right? Andy is still talking about some, Gary, don't worry about it. I'll let you out. Take it easy. Don't be rough with him. I'm like, oh my God, this girl. So they put Gary in the truck. The FBI tells Andy that all of her money in her account is gone. Andy said, wait, wait. I had $250,000. He said, gone. All of it is gone. They told Gary's car that Andy and him drove in to this dilapidated looking house, all the stuff in the car, including Andy's purse and phone. All of that stuff, the car, all the belongings in the car now belongs to the U.S. government. She couldn't even get her phone out the car. She couldn't even phone a friend. Woo! The FBI guy says that they have been watching Gary and Andy for months, and that Gary's current wife and previous wife also have nothing to do with this, or I think he was being sarcastic. So we find out in that moment that Gary had been married prior to Jasmine. Andy is in the middle of nowhere with no mode of transportation to get back home. And she's screaming. The FBI guy says, look, you can help us. But Andy's like, I don't know anything. So Andy's kind of like refusing to help. Then he tells her when she wants to cooperate, she will also get back her apartment. Which means they seized her because that's where Gary was staying at one point. And it makes me wonder, I wonder if the FBI lady was still following Andy because she really wanted to look out for her in more ways than one. Because why would she call her and say, don't trust him, they're after you, they're after you? She might have still been, following her and seeing that Gary bailed out. Girl, you had so many. The FBI guy said, I hope those shoes are comfortable. Yo, Andy had numerous ways out. Like, it is ridiculous. Like, the red lights were literally flashing in front of her. She had numerous ways out, and she refused to take them. She lost everything. She ain't got no money in her account. She ain't got nowhere to stay because they seized her apartment. That's crazy. Is that even realistic? But whatever, who cares? She can't even phone a friend. She got to walk back from where she is. She lost everything because of her poor judgment, her lust, and a man. I was hoping that she would smarten up before this season ended, but she didn't. All of the praise that she was getting from people like during the early episodes quickly dried up. Like her lawyer, the guy that helped her bail out Gary, who she went to law school with, he looked at her with such disgust in that police station. Like, what happened to you? Like, how is it that everybody else knows about Gary and you don't? You didn't want to know about Gary. So all that praise that she got, oh, you're a good, wholesome girl. You're a good, wholesome woman. You're so wholesome. All that praise quickly dried up. And we see that she is basically a foolish woman. And listen, we have all done silly things or maybe stayed in friendships, relationships a little bit longer than we should have because we love him or we love them or whoever. But baby, this is crazy. She's a foolish woman. And I do have to say that I like the way that the episode ended. I do. Moral of the story is leave married men alone. Or in the words of Lanithia Leaks, close your legs to married men. Everyone was trying to warn this girl. Stranger, everyone. Warning signs, slapping her all upside her head. When she moved that money into her account, I was like, yo, this girl is crazy. You had an out. When Gary was in jail the last episode, he was handcuffed to a bar on the wall. And I noticed that. I'm like, girl, do you not see that he's at a disadvantage right now? You have a way out. Lord have mercy. And Sabrina, while you watching her bank account, why you didn't reverse that transaction and try to get your homegirl out? You know what I'm saying? But then again, Sabrina probably would have been in some type of trouble. Well, sisters, it's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. This has been entertaining. This has been fun. 25 episodes? My God, Tyler Perry is not playing. Tyler Perry has a new show coming out on May 7th on BET Plus called Bruh. It's about 4 college buddies who are now businessmen or some crap like that. So I think this is the male version of Sistas. So let's see if they're as airheaded as some of these women. But Andy, I thought she was gonna wisen up. I said to myself, this girl, you making her just a dummy of dummies. Girl, how you gonna get back into town? You 2 hours. That FBI agent said, I hope those shoes are comfortable. Well, Royal Family, it has been a pleasure reviewing and roasting and laughing with all of you. Sistas season 1, that's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll be back soon for something. Make sure you drop down in the comments and share your thoughts. Like the video if you enjoyed the commentary. Subscribe. Select all when you click the notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. I'm gonna miss these. I'm gonna miss these misfits and these illogical women, poor taste in men. You know, emotionally damaged, stereotypical women. Well, Royal Family, I'll see you soon for something else. Until next time, peace.